Chapter 21. Black Fox, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Why are you yelling? You're also a thief. Humph. Black Fox's beautiful eyes narrow as she snorts, clearly offended by Ace's reaction. She wasn't acting like her usual cold demeanor. Ace takes a deep breath and calms down. He knew from the start that this girl wasn't normal, but also didn't imagine she was crazy as well. Who wanted to be a thief if they have a second choice? Like himself at the beginning, he didn't want to be a thief, but with this system, didn't have any option but to choose this road. Now things have changed and Ace didn't dislike being a thief. On the contrary, he was grateful towards the system for giving him this chance to become someone extraordinary. Why? Ace wanted to know just why she wants to be a thief. My mother was a thief and from the Shadow Devil clan. One of the top 10 clans of all, Devil Continent. Black Fox replied with some pride in her voice, but there was also a hint of deep sorrow in her eyes. Why that you're a devil? Ace thinks this world was going crazy. A real devil was right in front of him. How could he not think it was crazy? First, Ace discovers someone for the number 3 race of this world, a hunter who happened to be his adopted Lil Sis, and now he meets someone from the devil race that was the number 1 race of this world. No silly, let me finish first. My mother was a shadow devil, but my father was a human. I'm a half-shadow devil and half-human. Black Fox, clear Ace's misunderstanding. And why are you telling me this? Ace was startled. It was probably a great secret, but she was telling him like it was nothing. I think for working together we should trust each other. Since I know about you, you should also know about me. Black Fox nodded seriously to herself as she wraps her hands around her big chest and looked even more attractive. So you're a half-devil and half-human. Wait. What this has anything to do with forming a partnership with me? Ace was perplexed. You're so silly. Just let me explain first. Black Fox told annoyingly. She's unmistakably a crazy girl. Ace thought in frustration but didn't say or show it to his face. Because he was afraid she would start saying something meaningless again. So my father was a human and my mother was a devil. He saved her from human cultivators when she was being chased and attacked by them. After that incident, they fell in love. She starts her story again from the start. Ace didn't speak this time. He also finds it quite interesting because it was very rare for a devil to fell for a human. Devils never mate with other races. It was an extremely rare case. After they made their decision to stay together forever, they settled in a one-star city because there, they will be safe and live peacefully and no one would be able to find about my mother's identity as well as my father's past. However, 2 years later after I was born, a group of cultivators came. They were not from the lands of cities. They were searching for my father because before my father meets my mother's he was a high-ranking officer of some great power, but he betrays them and runs away with my mom. But they still find him in the end, even in this barren place with some kind of strange treasure. My mom has no choice but shows her origin of the Shadow Devil clan, and because of it, they find out about my mother's secret. They were 4 of them and they all as strong as my father. After bitterly fighting, one of them was killed by my father. Seeing my father killing one of their men, the 2 who were fighting with my mother use a treasure to sneak attack my father. But my mom saw it first and used her body to block it. That treasure was poisonous and my mother died after getting hit by it. My father saw my mom getting hit by the poisonous attack and died and madly fights to avenge her, and he killed the one who uses that poison attack. But another one sneaks attack him from behind. My father fights an intense battle against both of them, but in the end, those 2 men have some kind of strange ability and they escape from my father with their life. But father was also gravely injured and he fell in deep despair after losing my mother. He quickly takes me here to River Flower City to seek shelter from his friend. After 1 month we arrive here. My father's wounds were almost healed. But he was afraid that those 2 men will come back again. He also wanted to take revenge on that power behind them because they killed my mom, so he left me behind with his friend and said he will come back after a year. After my father's departure, I was left alone here. But my father's friend takes care of me for a year and a half time. Sadly he was not a kind-hearted person and has ulterior motives though. After 1.5 years he thinks my father died while seeking revenge. Thus, he was not afraid anymore and sells me to Grant family young Mississippi. He sold me to her for some ruby coins. Shadow Fox finished her story and became extremely distressed while talking about her parents, especially her mother's unfortunate death. Ace has a nostalgic expression on his face after hearing her tragic story. Her past is more painful than mine. Ace thought morosely, so why did you find me? Ace softly asked. He didn't look at her with hostility like before. After that man sold me to Lila Grant, who's also Asher's mother. She first wanted me to become Asher's maid after she seeing my appearance and give me training. I was just 4 years old, but I'm a half-devil and I had extremely high awareness since I was young, that how I remember those events clearly. However, I was afraid of others abandoning me after my mother's death and my father's disappearance. Moreover, that man sold me after. Therefore, I did what Lila told me to and start learning how to be a good maid. But when I turned 7 years old, my Shadow Devil clan, blood memory heritage, begins to awaken. I gain memories of some skills and cultivation techniques from my Shadow Devil lineage. I was confused at that time and tell about these memories to Lila. She didn't believe me first, but when I show her one of the lineage skills, she immediately takes me to her family head and told him everything. That old man was extremely knowledgeable and immediately guessed that I'm a devil because in this world only the devil possesses the blood memories heritage. He wants my lineage memories and I was NA.VE, so I told him everything. But my memories were incomplete and he finds out he can't cultivate my devil clan skills or technique. He does some test and discovered I'm not a pure-blooded devil and loses interest in me. Black Fox's eyes turned cold as she continued. I later found out that when a devil turns 7 years old, it starts to inherit memories from their ancestors through blood. This is what they all called blood memory heritage. Exactly what kind of memories they got, it solely depends on the devil's blood density. That's why devils are the #1 race of this world. They didn't need any techniques or skills, they just need the density of their bloodline to be high, and they can even awake their ancestors' full memories of cultivation. But I was only half-devil and that's why my skills and techniques were incomplete. Black Fox becomes dejected in the end. Ace didn't know what to say after hearing the Black Fox story. He felt pain in his heart for this girl and felt an unknown feeling he never experiences before. Grant family head lose interest in me after confirming that I'm an only half-devil. But he didn't let me roam around freely. After I showed him my skills, he knows I was a natural-born assassin and very dangerous because I'm a shadow devil. Hence, he planted this black mask on my face. It is like a slave mark but much more advanced. Slave marks can control a person with force, but if that person were to become too powerful, the slave mark will shatter. But this mask is like a high-level slave mark. It can't be undone by normal means, and that's why I come to you to form a partnership. Only you can help me. Black Fox touches her mask. It was a vicious curse and she always wanted to escape from these people's clutches but was powerless to do so. So, you want me to find out a method to undone this slave mask? Ace now has some idea why she wanted to form a partnership with him. He was still a little confused. Why him, though? I don't want you to find a method. Because I already know how to undo it. I only want you to get it for me. Black Fox mysteriously answered. Where is it then, and what will I get after getting it for you? Since it's an equal deal, you have to give me something, right? Ace was sympathizing with her, but it didn't mean he would risk his life for sympathy. I prepare myself. Black Fox giggles as she performed a more seductive posture to show her fine curves. Stop joking around and tell me seriously or I can't help you. Ace retorted while breathing hard. He nearly falls from his chair after hearing myself and sees her sexy posture. His heart was beating fast for some reason. He never felt this kind of feeling before. No. I'm serious. Didn't I say before I always want to be a thief like you? After you free me from this hell hole, I'll be your partner in crime and join you to become a great thief," declared Black Fox, and it seemed she was dead serious about becoming a thief. "You know what, you are crazy. Why would you want to be a thief? And if you want to be one, you can be one, but alone," Ace barked in frustration. He simply can't deal with this crazy girl anymore. "The reason is very simple. My mom was also a great thief. When my father found her, she was escaping after failing her job. She used to tell me stories of her adventures and how she stole from bad guys who bully innocent people. I was fascinated by her stories at that time and always wants to be like her. I'll become a great thief who stole from bad guys." Black Fox-like eyes were shining like stars when she told her grand goal to Ace. Ace nearly swore out loud after hearing her words. Chapter 22. Partnership with the Devil. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Your mother was a thief and you want to become like her. Ace repeated her words in bewilderment. Yes. That's been my dream since young, but after I become a Grant family slave, my life didn't belong to me anymore. They trained me to become an assassin after discovering my special abilities. I didn't have any choice but to obey their order. After my training was complete, Lila Grant gives me to her son Asher Kelby to do his bidding. He was adored by both his father, the current head of Kelby family, and his grandfather, the head of Grant family, also Lila's father. He was also the one who planted this slave mask. That's why he let me go to Asher's side, knowing I can't do anything because I had this mask on my face. Black Fox's eyes turned cold while mentioning Kelby and Grant's family. She resented both families to bones. How could she not be? It was because of them she was living as a slave all these years. But if you are bound by this slave mask, then how can you resist the orders and seeks my help? Ace asked in puzzlement. Even if Ace was new in the cultivation world, he clearly knew how slave marks work. The bearer of this mark can't resist their master control. Thus, if this fox mask was really more powerful than the normal slave mark, it would be nigh impossible for her to resist Asher's will. Black Fox said gravely. This is because one of my lineage skills that no one knows about, I can bypass this mask control with it. But it can't help me get rid of it. If they find out about this skill, they will kill me. You. Are you an idiot? Are you not afraid of me telling them your biggest secrets? What if I sold you out to save myself from Asher, or kill you right now to shut your mouth? After that, no one will ever know about my secret. Ace continues gloomily. As for Kelby and Grant's family, I can hide or even leave the city, and you know exactly that I'm capable of doing it. So why are trusting me so much? Ace didn't know her, or she wasn't his relative or anything important either. Then why was she telling him her secrets one after another like it was nothing? It made him quite uneasy. Because this girl was by no means a fool. She finds his hidden identity with so few clues. Heh, you would never do it because you are like my mother. You robbed that fatty because he was an evil person and always bully the poor. You even helped those innocent people's families who were killed by Billy in his madness. You give all those dead people families 10 ruby coins without letting them know. But do you know? They all know it was the Black Ghost who helped them when no one was listening to their pleading. They called you a hero of justice. My mother was also this kind of thief. She always stole from rich and bad peoples and helps the needy when no one wanted to help them. Black Fox nostalgically said as she remembered her mother's words and her stories even now because she was her hero. Her father always scolds her mother not to tell her this kind of story, but she never listens to him and always tells her about her great adventures and achievements. Black Fox still remembered her mother telling her about the variety of thieves. Remember, Eva, there were 3 types of thieves. First, those who stole for poor and rich peoples alike, whether they were good or bad. The second type is those who stole from only the weak because they are cowards who run from the strong and bully the weak. The third type was the rarest, those who only stole from evil people and helped the weak. That was the last thing she told Black Fox before her tragic death. Your mother was really a good person and I can't compare with her. Ace sincerely said without hiding his awe for that great thief. Eva giggles after seeing Ace's goofy face. That's why I wanted to find you and form a partnership. Because you are a loyal person and you will not do something so shameless to sell your comrade for saving your own neck. She has deeply investigated Ace before she makes her decision to form a partnership with him. Tell me, how can I free you from this slave mask, and about Kelby's family strength I want to know all about it, Ace asked. He wanted to help her if he could, but more importantly wanted to complete his mission. Now Ace has some idea what kind of family Kelby truly was after hearing her story. A number 3 family of the whole inner region, and he has to empty their treasury in 2 years. He nearly cursed the system. Oh, your next target was the Kelby family. Looks like I didn't misjudge you. You really are a kind-hearted thief, just like my mother. Black Fox was relieved after confirming her assumption about Ace being a kind-hearted thief. In her eyes, he was going to judge Kelby family, the black-hearted family who treats her like a slave and do all kind of evil deeds. BL.net. Ace's face flushed when he heard Black Fox's words. He wanted to clarify her misunderstanding but was afraid that she would beat him if he told her he wanted to do robbery for his own selfish purpose. She has definitely some screws loose in her head. Ace nodded and decided to let her be. Ace was not the third category thief, he was actually a new type of thief, that robbed others to get stronger. It was that simple. Cough. Cough. Ace coughed twice to hide his embarrassment. Listen. Can you not talk about this and just simply tell me how can I help you get rid of this mask, and in return, you can give me all the information on the Kelby family. Ace gave in. He didn't want anything from this crazy girl anymore. If she can just give him information about Kelby's family security or even help him get in there, he was happy with just that. Humph. First, you have to form a partnership with me and we will be a team from now on. Then, like a real team, you will help your partner first, then do official business together. Black Fox snorted, clearly dissatisfied with Ace for getting something so important this quick. What official business? That's a mission from the system. Ace really wanted to yell this but held himself back. Ace sighs helplessly. Fine, we will form a team and I'll help you first, but if your skill is not enough or you slow me down, I'll escape and leave you behind. Now tell me, how can I help you? There was clear frustration in his voice. See, that wasn't so difficult. I promise you that I will not slow you down and always follow your order. Since you're the team leader, name our team first. Black Fox said excitedly. She was looking at Ace with great expectations. What team leader? And why do we need a name? Ace asked hurriedly. He didn't like where this conversation was going. Since you're more skilled than me in thievery and you already famous thief, you will be our team leader, and in future, our team will be famous in whole world, so we should have a magnificent name that will stuck fear into bad guys' hearts. Explained Black Fox while imagining their glorious future with gleaming eyes. She is definitely a madcap. Ace nodded while smiled bitterly. Fine, fine. I'll be the leader, but for the name of the team let's talk about it in the future when we become famous or something like that. Ace didn't even want to form a team, much less name it, so he just said random things to assure Black Fox. You are right, we will decide on a name when we become famous. Black Fox seriously nodded in agreement. Just as he expects, she totally buys it. Now we are team and partners, so we should introduce ourselves. My name is Eva Jude and you can call me Eva from now on. Black Fox, or Eva, introduced herself while advancing her snow-white hand towards Ace. Ace White, just call me Ace, not the team leader. Ace smiled wryly as he shakes her delicate hand. Ace didn't know his forced-formed team will shatter the entire piece of the Golden Sky world in the future. Okay, Ace. Now you have to help your partner. Eva tittered. It was clear she was quite happy. Just tell me already. Ace was on verge of going insane and didn't even want to know about Kelby's family anymore. He only wants to know how to solve her problem and shut her annoying mouth. Because in Ace's eyes she talks too much. But if Asher sees her talking like this, he would think that this was someone else in the black fox mask. Because she never said more words than she needed. She only answered if you ask her questions and becomes mute after answering the question. This was how the usual black fox behaves, coldly. But in front of Ace, she acts like a spoiled child, and why she was doing this even she didn't know. She just felt close to Ace for some strange reason the moment they meet. Okay. I'll talk, stop annoying me. Eva annoyingly said after seeing Ace was going to explode any time. You're the annoying one here. Ace rolled his eyes and retorted in his heart. If you want to help your precious partner, you have to infiltrate Grant family's treasury. Eva sounds like a little girl who was quite excited about her big adventure with her team leader, of course. What? That night the whole inn heard a shrill scream fill with regret and resentment. Chapter 23. Infiltrating Grant family. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ace wanted to cry but no tears flow. He was regretting now. He should have escaped from here the moment the room door was opened and should have run far away from Eva. But alas, there was no medicine of regret in this world. Now he already promised her, so he will help her. His parents and grandparents always teach him to never break his promise or go back on his words. That Kelby family was already difficult to deal with, and now I have to rob the Grant family as well. If I robbed even one of them, the other will be on high alert. It's not the outer region after all, and Eva will be in trouble if I robbed Kelby's family first. That Asher will definitely notice something and maybe become suspicious of Eva. Ace thought gravely, she is irritating, but she is a kind-hearted and straightforward girl. She even tells me about her biggest secrets. I can't abandon someone who put their trust in me. Ace was in a predicament because if Eva didn't tell him about her past and secrets, he would have already chosen to do the system's mission. Besides, he didn't want to admit it, but it was his first time making a friend in little life. Why are you perspiring like rain? We can rob both families at the same time if you want to rob the Kelby family that much. Eva said softly after seeing Ace acting so silly. She finds it quite amusing though. How can we rob them both? Ace demands instantly. If he can, he didn't want to rob any one of them. My mom once told me how she robbed 3 treasuries at the same time. Eva told Ace proudly about her mom's achievements as if it was her own. Tell me about it. Ace ignored Eva's, who was acting haughtily like a peacock, and urged her to tell the whole story. Ace wasn't an expert thief and was a new bud in this domain. He can rob one of the big families here, but 2 at the same time was a near impossible task for him with his current skills. Thus, if Eva's mother was really a great thief, then her experience was very precious, helpful to him. Listen carefully, Eva earnestly begins to tell Ace. After 2 hours, Ace's eyes were shining like stars after listening to Eva's story and were amazed by the way thievery can be done. He was now fully convinced, Eva's mother was really a great thief, and he learned a lot from just by this one tale. Which fool says being a thief is easy? Too much planning is needed just for single thievery. In my opinion, being a thief is even harder than ascending heaven. Ace mused bitterly, but there was a particular thrill in his eyes. First we have to select a target. You can do that, and I will be going to infiltrate the Grant family. If we do this, we have to tend extremely carefully. If we make a mistake even a little, we are finished. I can always escape, but you will die as a result, so remember to be very cautious. Ace reminds her gravely. Ace didn't consider Eva an outsider anymore because she was helping him more than he asks for, and unknowingly he really starts to treat her like a teammate. Don't worry about it. The most important task will be done by you, and that made you the core of this plan. You have to be careful more than me. Eva said with a light chuckle. She has also noticed Ace's change in attitude and feels genuine concern from his voice. She was very happy about it. After all, she did all this to win Ace's trust and honestly wanted to form a team with him. Because her mom once said to her, a great thief needs a great partner. Therefore, Ace was the perfect partner for her. He was smart, has great skills, loyal, and trustworthy. She also has to admit he was somewhat handsome as well. That's why she told the truth from the beginning, because she knew a person like Ace would never abandon or betray a true friend. Furthermore, she vaguely felt very close to him and put all her trust in him for some unknown reason, and that faith comes directly from her blood and soul. Eva didn't dwell on this strange inexplicable feeling and think it was just because she meets a thief like her mom. All her attention was on the plan of robbing both families who treated her like slaves for many years. Finally, it was time for her sweet revenge. She was excited and afraid at the same time. Excited because her dream was becoming true and can finally become like her mother, and afraid because she didn't want her team with Ace to break with any mishaps. You should go first and report to Asher. He can be a huge hindrance to our plan, so we should get rid of him as soon as possible. Ace said with an evil smile on his face. Okay. I'll see you tomorrow. Eva faded like smoke after look at Ace one last time. She does have some skills. Ace smiled lightly. Underscore 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 in the morning at Kelby's shop, top floor. You can't find him. Asher's angry voice resounded on the entire top floor. Yes. He was remarkably quick to escape the city after getting rid of Caleb's party. After my investigation, I found that the inner gate guards see a person with the same features leaving the inner region. A cold yet sweet voice answer. She was Eva, or right now Black Fox. She was wearing her usual full-body black armor and her eyes were as cold as ice. She looks nothing like the lively girl who meets Ace last night. That fraud run away after he does this to me, damnable. I can't sleep in peace until I torture him. Go and find where he came from, just find anything. Asher barked while grinding his teeth in anger. He determines and will not stop until he finds Ace. Black Fox emotionlessly said, I already did, and it appears he was from the Red Mountain City. What? Red Mountain City. Asher's face turns ashen because he clearly knew where this city was, but the actual problem was Red Mountain City was a one-star city. Meaning a large-sized city where he can't mess around wantonly. Are you certain that Brat was from Red Mountain City? Asher asks uncertainly. Yes, I already checked twice and he is apparently from the Red Mountain City. Answer Eva coldly. Asher didn't even think about Black Fox can lie to him. Because she was with him for 5 years and never lies to him or failed her mission even once. She was like a machine that never gets tired or disobeys orders. That's why he trusted her blindly. It never occurs to him that this was Ace and Eva's plan to lead him in the wrong direction and make sure he didn't get in their way. Asher pulls a long face and becomes extremely frustrated. He was having a hard time believing that someone has escaped his grasps and the person was who makes him smell rat shit. This was his greatest humiliation of life and he can't even get revenge now. It made his anger reached a new level. But he can't go to a one-star city just to get revenge, right? Even if he goes there, where can he find him in that big city? He didn't even know how his mortal nemesis looks like, only Caleb knows. Eva spoke when Asher was about to swallow his disgrace and give up on vengeance. I also find this note from where he was staying. She gave a white folded paper to Asher. This small paper was going to be the last straw that broke the camel's back. Asher brows tightly frowned and received the paper. How's was my gift? He. Those words were filled with ridicule and scorn. Damnable bastard. Asher explodes furiously, his handsome face turns black as charcoal and veins pop out on his forehead as if they're going to explode anytime. He knew exactly who wrote this letter just by these disdainful words. Black Fox. Go and request help from my grandfather. I want that bastard no matter the cost. Even if I have to go to hell myself. Asher roared with a face full of hatred. He finally loses his reasons and never even thought that Ace planned to send him out of the city. Yes. Eva vanished after receiving Asher's command, idiot. She mocks Asher in her heart. Underscore 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 underscore. Meanwhile, when Asher was blowing his top, Ace was heading towards the Grant family territory. Suddenly a gust of wind passed him and a little piece of paper appears in his empty hand. He didn't surprise by this because he knew this was Black Fox. Ace read the little note and snickered sinisterly. That idiot really believed it, just like Eva said he would. In the letter was a report on Asher's current actions. After reading he sends a little heavenly chi in the letter and it turns into fragments. It's my turn, I guess. Ace activates stealth and vanishes into Grant's family territory. Eddie E.T. Grant family was ranked second in the inner region because they have an expert at the peak of Chi Gates realm, just half step away from reaching Chi Foundation building realm. He was Asher grandfather, the current family head of the Grant family, Ryland Grant. Chi Foundation building realm was the next realm after Chi Gates realm. Only the city lord was in this realm and because of it his family, the Layton family, were ranked first in the inner region. Ace was currently standing in front of a rundown building. It was the servant area of the Grant family. All the servants live in this old building. Grant family didn't allow servants to go outside of their territories because in Grant family eyes they were not people, they were mere slaves. Ace hurriedly went inside the building. He knows security isn't tight here, who cares about the security of slaves? So, if one can pass through all the family checkpoints and reach the servants area, there is no security at all. Ace entered the old building. The inside was clean but there was some strange smell inside. Ace saw rows of rooms and all the doors have no locks. One can enter as he wishes. This is the treatment Grant's family gave to their servants, they treat them like animals. Ace felt rage. He didn't think noble families of the inner region were worse than the outer region. At least in the outer region, they didn't treat humans like animals. Actually, they did, it just that he didn't know about it yet. He suppressed his seething anger and quickly goes to the upper floor. Here were fewer rooms than on the first floor, but these rooms were without any doors and inside were young boys. But their condition was worse than death. They were wounded all over their bodies, some didn't even have limbs. These boys were sparring partners for young masters of the Grant family. They have only one job and that is to get beaten. They were like living dummies that helps Grant family younger generation to test their skills. If they died during sparring, no one will care. They will be replaced by new ones. There were insignificant stones to sharpen the younger generation of Grant's family. Ace was here to become a sparring partner. Chapter 24. Grant family. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Grant family, servant building on the second floor. Ace saw those seriously injured and lifeless boys not much older than him. He felt intense ferocity in his heart and really wanted to get justice for them, but alas, he wasn't strong enough. This was the true face of the cultivation world where strength is supreme. Ace swallows the rage and moves forward deep into the second floor. All these doorless rooms were occupied by at least two boys. When they saw Ace with their lifeless eyes, they didn't react at all, because almost every day new sparring partner will be delivered. So they didn't think about Ace much. He was just another unfortunate one. Grant family captures these boys from wastelands. Wastelands were the lowest level lands of the entire human continent. Therefore, no one cares if the Grant family treats those wastelandians like slaves. These young boys were personally selected by elders of the family, and if they find something was not right with their identity, they would kill them without any second thought. But in all these peaceful years they become lazy and their selection became less meticulously. Because of it, Ace infiltrates this servant building and becomes a sparring partner. He finds an empty room and sits in a corner. He closed his eyes and began to ponder over the dual shadow swords technique. He has 2 years to complete the system mission, and in meantime, he needs to get stronger. He has to reach higher levels in his skills and techniques, especially in dual shadow swords. It was the hardest to master. The stealth and silent steps were only stepped away from perfection since they were his most important skills. He also needs to level up the true and false eyes. Without this mysterious eye skill he can't locate the hidden traps or arrays. And of course, he didn't forget about the final two forms of treasure opening hands, without it he wasn't a true thief. But in his grand scheme this time the most important skill was pick pocket. When Ace thought of pick pocket he couldn't help but grin mysteriously. Underscore 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 underscore. In the evening Ace opened his closed eyes because he heard footsteps of 3 men approaching. After 5 minutes 3 men come outside Ace's room and one of them exclaimed, Why is there still a person without any injuries here? Ace heard this startling voice and finally saw 3 armored men. They were clearly guards of this servant building who were goofing off when Ace entered the building. Hey, little shit, was you hiding last time when we were selecting sparring partners? The second one condemned sinisterly. His name was Aklam. He was lucky last time to escape our hand, but this time he can't escape. Hee hee. Laughed the third one evilly. His name was Lumen. Little rat, since you're perfectly fine you can be sparring partner of third young miss today, and you have quite a good face so she will definitely treats you well. Haha, the who exclaimed first snickers darkly. He was Jullo. Take him with others. Let's see if you can live to see tomorrow. After getting third miss care. Ordered Jullo to Aklam behind him. Let go little shit. Aklam comes to Ace and was going to grab him forcefully, but Ace stands on his own and starts to walk towards the other 2 guards nonchalantly. Oh, aren't we full of energy? Let's see if you can still even stand after practicing with third young Mississippi. Jullo smirk at Ace and starts to select others, sparring partners, and didn't pay Ace any more attention. After selecting 10 boys with Ace being one of them. Except for Ace, all of them were wounded and has scars on their faces. One of them was shivering visibly while another one was crying his eyes out. Only 10. A dissatisfied voice sounded from outside of the building. Head butler, these 10 were the only bunch left who can even walk properly. Look, we event find a fresh piece for third young miss to play with. Answered Jullo respectfully as he pointed his finger towards Ace, who seemed impassive. His previous domineering face was replaced with a courteous one. This person standing outside the servant building has a small and chubby stature. He was a middle-aged man with a short black beard. His name was Kylon Grant and he was the head butler of Grant Family East District. Grant's family territory was quite big and it was impossible to monitor all of the territories of the family with little manpower. So the whole Grant family territory was divided into 4 districts. East, West, South, North District. Each district has 1 protector at peak of Chi Gates realm and 1 head butler. In the center of all 4 districts was the main mansion of the Grant family. In the main mansion lives family head and his family. These 4 family districts were divided between the elders of the family. Head butler Kylon was here to find new sparring partners for East District young masters. But all of the other sparring partners were gravely injured. Because those youngsters didn't hold back at all. If they were in good mood they would at least spare their life. But if they were in bad mood these Wastelandians boys would be beaten to death just to vent their anger. New batch isn't here yet? Asked head butler Kylon with clear frustration on his chubby face. Jullo politely answered, not yet head butler, but I assure you that it will arrive tomorrow morning. Fine, I'll come tomorrow then. Head butler Kylon sighs helplessly. Yes, we will specially select good ones for you, head butler. Aklam thumps his chest while giving grantee to the head butler. Kylon nodded his head in satisfaction and turned toward 10 dummies, and said, you 9 will be delivered to others young masters while you in perfect condition will follow me. Kylon takes Ace and the other 9 were taken away by other servants who come with him towards the East District of the Grant family. Ace was scanning the surroundings curiously while walking with butler Kylon. East District was the biggest district of the Grant family, and people who live here all held a very high position in the Grant family. After walking for 5 minutes, Ace spotted a beautiful large house. He saw a beautiful garden with colorful flowers outside. Ace was observing the flowers when an angry yet soft voice sounded, "Kylon, where is my sparring partner? Boy, it seems your luck is not very good. It seems third young lady Gracie is angry for some reason." Kylon sniggers darkly while he looked at Ace as if he was a dead man. As Kylon was talking to Ace, the house closed. Door blast opened and a little girl about 5 feet tall with a slender figure, come out. She was Gracie Grant, third miss of Grant's family. She held quite a power in Grant's family because she was the niece of Ryland Grant. She has a remarkably willful personality. When Kylon saw Gracie was storming towards him with a long face, he quickly grabs Ace's hand and moved him in front of himself and quickly said, "Young miss, look, this is the sparring partner I bought for you today, and he isn't injured at all. He also has quite a face." Gracie heard Kylon's words and finally shifts her gaze towards Ace. Even she was stunned for a moment after seeing his handsome face, especially those shining dark blue eyes, that gave him an unknown charm. With pale skin and long inky hair, Ace looks like some young prince. Gracie has to admit maybe he's the most handsome boy she ever saw. She quickly hides her surprised expression and acts like she didn't move by this sparring partner at all. However, from Ace's soul sense, how could she escape? He immediately notices a change in her mood. What can I do with this little white sheep? He can't even withstand a single strike from me. Gracie snorted and acted like she was still in bad mood. Kylon didn't have Ace's soul sense as cold sweat begins to form on his forehead and quickly said in a panicked tone, "Why, young miss, don't look at his face. He is after all from wildness and his body has to be strong if he wants to survive in wastelands." He was afraid that she would want him to become her sparring partner today and hurriedly begin to explain about Wastelandians. It was true that if someone wants to survive in wastelands, one has to become a hunter. One could not live in wastelands comfortably like people in the city. They have to hunt for food and fight with those wild demonic beasts to live. That's why they have naturally strong bodies. If not for the poor quality of chi in wastelands and other strange reasons, these Wastelandians would have ruled the lands of cities long ago. Just because of it, they didn't have any strong experts, and these strong families captured their youngsters wantonly. Some use them to become stepping stones for their young generation like the Grant family, and others use them as high-quality slaves. It was also a mystery why the Wastelandians never has any Chi Foundation realm cultivator. Chapter 25. Thief's Skill Pick, Pocket. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Gracie snorted as she rolls her eyes at head butler, "Humph. We'll see about that after I try. Since you bought him here already, I'll forgive you for being late. Now go and don't disturb me. I've learned some new skills that I want to practice." She enters her house after giving Kylon an unfriendly glance. Kylon pretends to not see anything and quickly warns Ace, "You have to follow young miss every order if you want to live. Don't displease her in any way. Now go." Ace ignores Kylon's warning and follows Gracie with his head down. However, they both didn't notice an astute glint flash past his eyes. "I didn't think this Gracie would deliver herself to me this early and so easily," he thought gloatingly. Gracie saw Ace following her attentively and couldn't help but nodded in satisfaction after seeing this respectful lad. Because most of the Wastelandians would stare at her with hatred and resentment when they first come here. A slave should behave just like this. She mutters loudly to aggravate Ace, but he only grins coldly. She opened a door and Ace saw a big open space in the back of her house. There were sharp swords marks on the ground and rows of weapons were arranged on the side. It was clearly her personal training ground. Gracie said indifferently, "Quickly, don't waste my time and pick any weapon and attack me with everything you have." Ace didn't move and meekly said, "May I speak few words with third lady first?" Gracie frowns as she knitted her brows after hearing Ace's request, but didn't attack him immediately. She only smiles darkly and said, "Speak, but if I don't like what you said, I will cut your tongue so you can't speak anymore." Ace pretends as if he didn't see her dark smile and said respectfully, young miss, here's a thing, ever since I was little, I can use a special skill. When Gracie heard Ace's words her eyebrow raised a little. She didn't think this barbarian of wastelands can use a special skill. Moreover, she didn't feel any strong chi in Ace's body. He was clearly a mortal, so how could he use a skill? Gracie can't feel Ace's cultivation base because of heavenly chi. Only someone with 2 major cultivation realms higher than Ace can feel his true cultivation base. Others would only think of him as a normal mortal. That was also the reason why Ace was not worried about others finding out about his status as a cultivator, because someone with 2 whole realms higher than Ace can't be found in 2-Star City or even in 1-Star City easily. Of course, he finds out about this after paying thief points to the system while gritting his teeth, when he was anxious about this fact. Furthermore, it's not like mortals can't learn or use the skills. It's just these kinds of characters were extremely rare and all of them were geniuses among geniuses. Could it be this barbarian is a genius? Gracie promptly shook her head. How could someone from Wasteland be a genius? Maybe he was just lucky. This was the only explanation. However, Gracie was still hooked and said playfully, a special skill, you say? Fine, show me, and if it isn't something special you know what's going to befall on you. Ace hurriedly shook his head, as if he was panic. Young miss, I didn't dare to use it on you and only need some other person to show it to you. Ace was showing fear towards Gracie and also probing her character to see if he could really move forwards in the next step of his plan with her or not. Gracie lost her patience and rebuked angrily, now use it already. It doesn't matter if it's me or someone else, because if I didn't like what I see, you are dead. Ace quivered a little, acting like he was afraid, and hurriedly closed his eyes and began to use pickpocket. The moment the skill is active, a formless thread shots from his finger straight towards Gracie's waist like an arrow. Gracie didn't seem to notice that formless thread and stand still in her place waiting for Ace to use his skill. When the formless thread touches her waist, it suddenly disappeared and in Ace's hand appears a small yellow pouch. Ace knew this would happen, so he wasn't shocked by this, but what happens next thoroughly shocks him when heard a sweet voice in his mind that he didn't hear for quite some time. Pickpocket succeed. Host steal 2 trash grade pills and 100 ruby coins. Rewards: 0 thief points. Ace was flabbergasted by this unexpected system announcement. You're telling me if I can pick someone's pocket, I get TP as a reward? He shouts in his mind dumbfoundedly because he didn't know he can earn TP with this skill. Ace was just acting according to his plan and didn't know that pickpocket has this kind of use. This skill was his weakest because he didn't practice it much. However, recently he has found out that this skill was not a normal skill at all. Because this skill can be used with the soul chi as well. Actually, it works more perfectly with heavenly soul chi than heavenly chi, because he didn't have to be close to the target and can use this skill from afar. Just like now, he has to active pickpocket with his soul chi, and the moment his soul chi touches the target, it instantly takes the target's most important belongings and sends them to Ace's hand directly. The most astonishing thing was the target can't notice it at all. Ace found this peculiar side of this skill when he was getting used to his heavenly sense. He discovered he can use the pickpocket within his heavenly sense range by using soul chi. He was very happy at that time, but he didn't imagine that this skill can help him collect TP. Ace calms his excited heart because he was in front of Gracie and didn't want her to find something was wrong with his acting. When Gracie saw the little yellow pouch appear in Ace's hand, her eyes went wide and nearly pop out of her eye sockets with shock. She subconsciously touches her waist and bewitches because she didn't find her yellow money pouch. Because it was already in Ace's hand. Before she could recover from her shock, Ace quickly spoke first. My lady, this one apologized for his offense, but the young lady was the one who gives her commands, so this lowly one can't disobey her. I hope young miss can show some grace and forgive this small person offense. Ace bows lightly and politely give her yellow pouch back to her. He was shivering a little as if he was afraid she would kill him, so he was begging for mercy first. Gracie finally snapped out of her trance and quickly took her yellow pouch from Ace's hand and stared angrily at him. You You dare to steal from me. And now you dare to beg for forgiveness. Tell me how you do it. And teach me that skill, then I'll think about not punishing you. She wasn't angry at all, on the contrary, she was very excited. If I learn this kind of skill, with it I can steal from others without them knowing anything. These were her actual thoughts. Ace was expecting this, so he quickly answered with a panicked face, "Why, young lady, it is not that I don't want to teach you, it's just that I can't teach you or anyone at that. This is a skill that I learn unknowingly, even I don't know how I can do it. This skill came to me when I was 5 years old." Gracie's face fell and angry surfaced on it after she heard Ace reply, "Then why did you show it to me if you can't teach it to me? Do you want to steal from me?" She grips her sword's hilt more strongly. If Ace didn't tell her a reasonable answer, she would attack him without holding back. Ace told her his original motive with a horrified, sickened face, "Young miss, I didn't want to steal from you. I showed it to you because I'm not good at fighting. After I came here, I saw all those other brothers from wasteland conditions. I was afraid of death, so I thought that if I showed enough value, I can be spared from this fighting and live a little easy life from all those brothers in that building." He shook his head vigorously as he explains his real purpose. As expected, Gracie seems to calm down a bit after she heard Ace's explanation, because it was extremely reasonable. If he wants to live, then he has to show his worth. Gracie also didn't suspect any lie in Ace's answer either, because she, herself, has already killed more than 10 Wastelandians. Gracie finally calms down and said in a deep voice, "Then what you mean is, you can steal from others and give those things to me. In return, you want better treatment from those other slaves. Do you think you are in a position to negotiate with me? Who said I give my stolen thing to young Mississippi? If I got caught, no one knows where their stolen things are, right? And no one knows I can speak, did they, young miss?" He respectfully smiled at Gracie after he said those meaningful yet meaningless words. Gracie was astounded by Ace's cunningness. Is he saying he will be mute in other people's eyes and give all those stolen things to me, and no one knows? But if he betrays me, and spills the beans, I will be in huge trouble. So how can I trust him? She mused. Ace quickly spoke as if he read her mind, "Young miss, you can plant one of those slave marks on me." Once again Gracie was startled by Ace's decisiveness. Chapter 26. The Plan. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Listening to Ace's words, Gracie deeply looked into his eyes and asked meaningfully, "Do you even know what slave mark is?" Ace pondered for a while before answering considerately, "Yes. I heard little about it in the wastelands. I only know, branding with a slave mark means surrendering your free will and forever stay loyal to the person who holds the slave contract. I also personally saw a mysterious red color mark on the people's forehead on the first floor. I should be the slave mark, right?" Ace actually didn't know all this, it was all the information Eva gave him before coming here. Branded with the slave mark was also a part of their plan, and this kind of trashy slave marks will not work on him because of his soul cultivation. That's why he said without any hesitation, and it was the easiest way to win Gracie's trust. Gracie didn't surprised by the fact that Ace already knows about the slave mark, but what was she really surprised about was Ace's will to live. In her eyes, this guy was actually showed her his secret skill and even wanted to brand it by slave mark, just so he could live. This really fascinates her and made her look at this barbarian in a new light. "Fine, I'll allow you to be my personal servant and let you live better than any one of those in that shitty building. But you have to prove yourself first." Gracie mysteriously smiled and continued, "I'll be attending a family meeting in a month if you can steal all those participants' money pouches without anyone finding out. Then you can be my personal servant and I will even reward you. What do you think?" Gracie smiled sweetly at Ace as if she was looking at a sheep who was about to get slaughtered. She concealed the most important part of the information from him, that was this wasn't just any random meeting. It was the meeting of Grant family's younger generation, and it was quite a big event. To test Ace's special skill limit and see if he really can steal from all those contestants without alerting them, Gracie didn't tell him the whole truth. Furthermore, if he failed, she'll kill him swiftly so no one can investigate this matter, but if he succeeds, she will make a huge profit without even lifting a finger. Besides, if everything goes smoothly then she'll just pretend to be a victim like everyone else, and no one will ever know that she was the mastermind behind the thievery. Most importantly, she'd gain a master thief as a slave. I'll act according to young Miss' arrangements. But this humble servant has a personal request. Ace requests politely. He wasn't surprised by this test at all. He knew from the start, winning the trust of this arrogant third miss of the Grant family would not be a walk in the park. Gracie knitted her brows tightly after hearing Ace. But she didn't rebuke and asked coldly, "Tell me if this request is reasonable, I think about it. I just need a space for training my skill because I never used it on multiple people before and most importantly I'm not a cultivator." Ace's tone becomes even more respectful. "I also don't want to fail young Miss mission, that's why I need to train hard so I can serve with my full potential in a month." Gracie mulled over it for a while before speaking. "It seems you don't want to go back to that shitty building, so be it, you can live here in the open and practice all you want." She smiles darkly, "However, you're not allowed in my house or if you even take even half a step outside my training ground, you're dead." After warning Ace, she turns around walks back to her house leaving him behind. Since Gracie makes a great deal with Ace she was in no mood of training anymore and decided to play outside because she was in a very good mood. As Ace watched Gracie leave him alone, the second phase of the plan is complete this easily and it is sooner than we anticipated. He thought joyously. In Ace and Eva's scheme, Gracie was very important. Their plan was, Ace would be a punching bag for quite some time and after showing his unnatural abilities to endure the beating he will be given to a stronger young miss or master to be their sparring partner. Eventually, Ace would meet his main goal and that was Gracie Grant. Eva selected her because she was extremely willful and never listened to others except for her father and even her mother can't control her. Moreover, she was extremely greedy and would take whatever she likes from others. She bullies others no matter who they were. If Gracie encountered someone strong she would use her status or father status. But even with all these powers backing her, she can't take or act wantonly in front of two persons and they were both first and second young masters of Grant's family. Ace and Eva decided to use her greed to manipulate her actions. Ace would show her his unnatural pick-pocket skill and she would not be able to resist the temptation of stealing the precious things from others. Especially from the second-ranked young master who she hated the most but can't deal with. However, this plan was supposed to take some time to set in motion, but who would have thought, on the very first day Ace meets his target. Therefore, he strikes immediately and baits Gracie with the pick-pocket skill. Except for that 1-month test part, Ace's plan succeeds in the end and that's what matters the most. Now, he just has to train the pick-pocket to a higher level to pass Gracie's test. Furthermore, after discovering, the pick-pocket would give him thief points, Ace was really going to practice it seriously. Unknowingly this skill has become his main priority because to get things from the system he needed TP and only knows this one method to earn TP excluding missions. Actually, it was very easy to earn TP, he just has to steal things and can earn thief points. But he never does that before and when he used pick-pocket to steal Gracie's money pouch, Ace finally realized what he has to do to earn TP. Furthermore, this skill was unexpectedly a soul skill. Soul techniques and soul skills were rarest in Golden Sky World. Even Devil Race that possessed the most complete heritage of cultivation in this world didn't have many soul cultivators. Ace used Heavenly Sense and saw Gracie leaving the house, but didn't go inside. Because she might have left some trap or order, someone, to watch him. Since his soul senses were not strong enough he can't scan the whole house. Ace didn't care about Gracie anymore and placed those weapons 10 meters away from him and starts using pickpocket. Just like what happened to Gracie the moment his soul chi thread touched a weapon, it vanished and reappeared in his hand. It was as if space is being manipulated by this skill, but Ace didn't understand it too well yet, so he keeps practicing it like a madman. Underscore 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 Gracie comes back at night. She enters the house and snugly sits in a chair before saying carelessly, "How was he?" There was no one around, but suddenly a man appears from the training ground. He didn't open the door and directly passes through it as if he was incorporeal. He gets on his knee and answers respectfully, "Young lady, that brat only practice, all this afternoon and evening." After some rest, he starts practicing again and was still practicing like a madman just an hour ago. "I think he used all his chi." Not bad, not bad. It seems he is serious about what he said and didn't lie to me. Go and give him beast meat and a blanket as a reward. Keep an eye on him, he'll be living in the training ground for a month, and if he succeeds in his task, you will get a new subordinate to play with Yahir," Gracie said coolly. Yahir was Gracie's personal bodyguard that was personally assigned by her father. He is at the fourth gate of Chi Gate's realm. If Ace were to move around carelessly, he would have been attacked by Yahir instantly. But Ace just does his training diligently and was seen by Yahir as a hard worker. That is why Yahir has a good impression of Ace now. Yahir emotionlessly said, "Yes, young lady, I will follow your will." Ace was laying on the ground panting like crazy. He gave his all today and still didn't understand pickpocket enough to raise its level. But he feels that he can do it within a month. Nonetheless, he was feeling hungry but wasn't worried about it too much. After all, if Gracie was as greedy as Eva described her to be, she would not let anything happen to Ace until she finds out if he was usable or not. Just as he was thinking about food, a fragrant smell entered his nostrils. He quickly looked around and saw a man wearing blue clothes was coming towards him with a tray in his hand. It was an old man in his 50s with gray long hair and a wrinkled face. He was Yahir, Grace's personal bodyguard. When Yahir saw Ace was looking at him, he smiles kindly like a senior who was going to meet his junior for the first time. Yahir placed the tray on the ground and said while smiling warmly, "You worked hard today for my lady, and here is your reward. If you keep working like this, she will no mistreat you. But if you betray her trust or make a mistake, then I'll be the first one to come after your head." When Yahir said that, his eyes turn icy cold as he emits a thick killing intent. Ace shivers when he feels Yahir killing intent. Just how many people did this old man has killed? He was shocked and afraid by this old man. Still, he nodded his head stiffly, and that killing intent vanished like it never exists before, and Ace finally could breathe. Yahir smiled again after seeing Ace nodded and leaves the tray there before leaving. Clearly, he was only here to give Ace a warning, nothing else. Chapter 27. Grant Family Meeting. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Ace begins to live in Gracie's training group from that day on. However, it causes a huge commotion in the Grant family. Head butler Kylon was quite appalled by this sudden turn of events because he didn't expect Gracie would take a liking to this barbarian, and she even let him live in her house. Everyone was astounded by this news because they know Gracie's personality very well and she would never do things that didn't give her any interest. Consequently, everyone starts to investigate this barbarian that Gracie accepted. They couldn't find anything about him though. Those elders who were supposed to keep watch over wasteland slaves didn't know anything about Ace. Because those elders have become too lazy after a long period of peace in the family. Only, now did this new development transpires after Gracie showed liking towards a wasteland boy and they have to give a complete report on him to higher-ups. But they can't find anything on him after they searched their half-done records. Nevertheless, this notion didn't even cross their minds that someone would be daring enough to infiltrate Grant family with this kind of method. The most agitated amidst the Grant family higher-ups was, of course, Caden Grant, Gracie's father. Caden took this matter truly seriously because he doted on Gracie the most and was worried about her safety. Yet, when he finds out there was no information at all on that punk, he blew his top and punishes those indolent elders with ferocity. After discovering that there was no information on that punk, Caden summoned Gracie and ordered her to kick Ace out of her house because he was suspicious. But Gracie didn't listen to him at all and protested by saying, "I'm going to brand that barbarian with a slave mark after he passes my test in a month." She assured him with, "Yeah, here keeping an eye on Ace all time." After seeing Gracie's confidence, Caden could only sigh helplessly, "I spoiled her too much." Well, what can a mortal slave do? Maybe I'm acting too overprotective here. His eyes were filled with fatherly love when he looked at Gracie's pouting face. In the end, Caden didn't object anymore and approve of her request to keep Ace as a servant. But he was extremely puzzled by the fact, why did she want that barbarian as a personal servant? Whenever he asked the reason, she just smiled mysteriously. Eventually, he gave up completely. Now he can't investigate Ace personally, right? Since it was beneath him with his noble status. Ace didn't know, Gracie accepting him in her house has caused so much turmoil. He was solely concentrating on pickpocket right now. Even if Ace knew about it, he wouldn't care at all. Because Eva assured him again and again, when the family investigates him, Gracie would definitely protect him and won't open her mouth. Because of selfishness and the perks that he would bring her. As Ace practices this skill, he finds out, it was easy to understand with his formless wind core. This was also the advantage of a soul cultivator, they can practice soul skills with ease. And Ace was a heavenly soul cultivator at that. 1 month passed in a flash. Today was the day of the Grant family younger generation meeting. Every 2 years this competition originates among East, West, South, and North District youngsters between the age of 12 to 18. This competition determined the ranking of the Grant family's youngsters. By measuring their cultivation bases. The top 10 would get many benefits and resources from the family. The person within 3rd to 10th rank, can gain the best resources of the family and gets 10 half-white grade chi pills every month that can help cultivate faster. First and second ranks would also gain all benefits, but the most precious prize for them was, they can learn the only low-level chi mortal grade skill that the Grant family possessed. It was extremely precious and the biggest secret of the Grant family. Only the top 2 can learn the skill and only for 2 days. If they can gain something from it, that's their luck, and if not, that's also their bad luck. Because to memorize low-level mortal grade skill, one has to be at Chi Gates realm peak. Skills are divided into normal, mortal, warrior, master, and mysterious grades. All the grades are further divided into low, middle, high, and absolute levels. As for skills above mysterious grades, they were all in the hands of ancient sects. A 2-start city like the River Flower City only has 2 low-level mortal grade skills, and one of them was in the City Lord Mansion while the second one was in the hands of Grant's family head, Rylan Grant. Normal grade skills can be considered common because they can be found even in 3-star cities. However, warrior grade skills were all monopolized by kingdoms. If they even get the news that skill of warrior level was in the hand of a lowly city, that would be considered treason, and that city, as well as every single living being in it, will be erased from existence. That's why these youngsters of Grant's family yearn for this low-level mortal grade skill day and night. Even those elders didn't have permission to touch it and always wanted to learn it, but Rylan won't let them, he only gave authorization to those who showed value to the family. Moreover, no one even knows the name of the skill. It was the top secret of the Grant family. Ace was currently walking behind Gracie, ceremoniously looking like a loyal servant. He was holding a long bag in his hand, and in it were 2 beautiful long swords. Gracie was walking towards the meeting venue. Actually, she didn't need Ace to carry her swords, but Ace insists on it because he needed this bag to put all those stolen goods. When Gracie hears this reason, she quickly agrees to it and gives Ace a long string bag. She even picked another sword just because that bag was looking too empty with only 1 sword. Ace was happy about it, now no one will suspect anything. After some time, Ace saw a big open field coming into his view that bursting with activity. It was the venue for Grant family younger generation meeting. The Grant family was after all the second-rank family of the inner region, so this competition brought together many different powers. These important characters had come here to watch the competition between juniors of the Grant family. The competitive spirit amongst the junior members of the family was at a boiling point from the excitement, after seeing all these people came here to watch their grand performance. The meeting was held in a wide field in the evening. Several guests were bustling about. Some of the family heads from various other families came because of Grant's family fame and power. But no one came from the city lord's family due to the complicated relationship between them. In the wide field of the Grant family, numerous members from the junior generations of various inner region families had been gathered. Although these bouts between them were going to be grand and intense, everyone's focus was currently on a grand stage that was set in the center of the venue. Gracie turned around before she enters the venue and whispered to Ace, "You only have to steal from participants of the competition. Don't alert those high-level guests, especially the family head and elders. If they find out about it, you will die before you know it." She didn't wait for Ace's answer and enter the venue. Ace's complexion was dreary. He didn't think this little test of Gracie would be in this kind of exploding spot and felt he has been duped by this, shorty. This going to troublesome. Ace deemed gloomily. After entering the venue, Ace saw a big grand stage in the center, and on the center of the stage was a pillar, on it placed a white crystal ball. That crystal ball was the size of an adult human head. Around the grand stage were posh seats and only old-looking and some middle-aged men were sitting in them. They all were wearing luxurious clothes and drinking some kind of wine while chatting with each other casually. He could tell that they were all important figures just by the high chi fluctuations around them. Gracie directly goes towards the juniors area of her family. There were only 10 seats there and everyone was standing behind them. When those youngsters saw Gracie, they instantly shut their traps because they were quite afraid of annoying this little devil. Gracie scorned after seeing everyone's vigilant gaze and sit in the third seat from the right. Besides her were 2 seats where 2 young men were sitting. The one who sits in the first seat with an expressionless yet handsome face was Felix Grant, and the one who sits beside Felix was Reuben Grant, who has an ordinary face with a dusky complexion. Felix was ranked number 1 in the previous meetings and also the Grant family's best talent of this generation. More importantly, he was the youngest son of Ryland Grant. On the other hand, Reuben was ranked 2nd in the previous meeting and Gracie was 3rd. Gracie detests Reuben because he always teased her as number 3 sister whenever he saw her. Therefore, she avoids him most of the time. Furthermore, she can't do anything about it because he has excellent talent in cultivation and he was favored by family head and also Felix's good friend. Even her father was helpless against him. This year Gracie has turned 18 and this is her last competition. Consequently, she was determined to beat Reuben this time around. The same goes for Felix and Reuben. These 3 always competing with each others, but Felix never let any one of them overtake him in these years. Gracie was about to greet Felix when she hears a huge commotion from the crowd and turned around to see what happened. Reuben, who was also going to tease Gracie, becomes serious. A 1.8 meter tall middle-aged man with dark brown long hair and a fine face enters the venue haughtily. He was wearing luxurious silk robes with beautiful golden embroidery. He nonchalantly walks toward the stage and sat in the most eye-catching seat in the center. He didn't even bother to greet anyone and sits in the golden chair while closing his eyes. Yet, no one dares to show any displeasure or angry expressions. They were even smiling broadly after seeing that man's arrogance because he was the current head of Grant family, Ryland Grant. Beside Ryland was a man who was not as tall as him but wasn't short either. His face resembles Ryland's greatly and sat on the seat right next to Ryland's. He was Gracie's father and Ryland's younger brother, Caden Grant. Ryland swiftly gestures with his hand while his eyes were still closed. it was a signal. Everyone understands what that gesture means. The meeting was finally about to start. Chapter 28. Soul Threads. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Recognizing Ryland's signal, no one dares to make a sound anymore. In this taciturnity, an old man in his 60s walking towards the center of the stage came into everyone's view. He was an elder of the Grant family, Ezekiel Grant. Ezekiel has a mild smile on his old face while greeting everyone in the venue. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my Grant family meeting of the younger generation. Let's start the evaluation process right away. He didn't dare to spout useless nonsense and directly start the meeting because Ryland didn't like wasting time. Ryland seldomly shows his face because he was always focusing on cultivation and wanted to reach the Chi Foundation building realm as quickly as possible. Most of the time these kinds of matters were handled by Caden. But this time, it was his youngest son, Felix's last meeting, therefore he attended this event. That's also why so many important characters came this time, to show their loyalty and support. Dov. It was all because Ryland was the second strongest man after the City Lord in the River Flower City. Once he break through into the next realm, he would be in existence, at the same level as the City Lord. Many families who can't curry favor with the Layton family came here to jump on Grant family's ship while Ryland was still weak. Ezekiel addressed loudly, "Let me explain the rules to everyone quickly. First, only the youngsters at the age of 18 and below can participate in the competition. Second, every junior will get only signal chance to evaluate by this white cultivation measuring crystal. As he said, he pointed towards the white crystal beside him. This white cultivation measuring crystal can measure cultivation below Chi Foundation building realm. Third, after the evaluation, the top 3 to 10 ranked participants can challenge first and second ranked, but only single times. If anyone can beat participants in the first or second rank, they can take their places and loser can't challenge the winner. He declared distinctly. There is a total of 40.2 participants in this meeting. We will start from the youngest of these 40.2 participants. Ezekiel announced as he shifts his focus towards participants. A little boy who seems to be 12 years old starts to walk towards the stage nervously under everyone's curious gazes. He was clearly the youngest of them all. This little boy moved towards the white cultivation measuring crystal tensely. This was his first meeting. Ezekiel said in a soothing tone, after seeing the boy's nervousness, "Boy, don't worry, just place your hands on the measuring crystal and pour your chi in it. After we'll see what your cultivation level is. Now go." That little boy take a deep breath and placed his hands on the crystal, and pour his chi. The next moment something magical happened. The white transparent crystal suddenly starts to shine brightly and a single little gate begins to form. That gate was light yellow in color. "First gate of the Chi Gates realm, lo," Ezekiel announced while nodded in satisfaction. Ezekiel calls with a smile, "Next." This cultivation measuring crystal can change into 5 different colors. Gate that symbolizes Chi Gates realm, 5 gates. The yellow color for first gate, orange for second gate, green for third gate, brown for fourth gate, and golden for fifth gate. As for low, middle, and high, that depends on the color depth. The brighter your realm gate is, the higher your final evaluation. Since the measuring crystal just showed a light yellow gate, it meant this body just recently opened the first gate. If he was close to breakthrough or at the peak of first gate, the color that crystal shows would be the brightest yellow. The little boy smiled with pride. After all, he was only 12 and already a cultivator. He was not here for the prize and only here to show off his talent. Ace saw all of it and was quite fascinated by that white crystal. He didn't think one can measure cultivation just like that as well. Now, he really wanted to go to the stage and test his own heavenly cultivation. He wanted to see if that thing can measure heavenly chi or not. One has to know. After all his efforts, Ace was now at the peak of the first gate of heavenly gates. He just needs some experience and insight to open the second gate. Ace wasn't amused by that toy anymore and was ready to begin his work after watching the next participant was heading towards the stage. When everyone's attention was focused on that participant, Ace closed his eyes. Swiftly, formless fine threads of soul chi begin to eject from each finger of his right hand. These threads were dancing around his finger like puppet strings. He manipulates these strings with soul chi and like arrows, these 5 strings shot towards the standing participants besides the stage. No one can see or sense these threads if they aren't soul cultivators or their martial cultivation base is higher than Ace by 2 whole realms. Ace called these fine threads, soul threads. Soul threads were formed by his formless wind soul core. Of course, he got this brilliant idea from the pick-pocket skill. Since the pick-pocket skill can form one chi thread and move it with chi as well. Ace tries to form these threads with soul chi and he succeeds effortlessly. It was like these threads were just mere random tricks that he can perform with the Heaven Stealer technique anytime. Ace was awed by the Heaven Stealer technique that the system gives him. It was like he can do anything with it as long as he can imagine it. All the soul threads wrapped around 5 contestants' waists. Ace instantly activate the mid-level pick-pocket skill that he practiced all this month. Pick-pocket's instantly active, but this time it didn't form any new thread and was directly engaged on those already formed soul threads. Just like that, the soul threads vanished and Ace felt the bag in his hand become a little bit heavy. He grins widely, it's too damn easy this way. He was happy since he robbed 5 people at the same time without any quandary and no one even notices him. After his first completion, Ace became like some professional thief, and whenever a new participant moves towards the stage, he would take advantage of these disturbances and steal. After 2 hours every participant except Gracie, Felix, and Ruben were done with their cultivation measuring test. Ace was a little listless since soul threads take quite a toll on his soul and mind, although his eyes were shining brightly as he was looking at the system's black panel. Pickpocket succeed, host steal. 62 trash grade pills, half white grade, and 12,184 ruby coins. Rewards. 12 thief points, TP, thief points, TP. 52, Ace spends 2 hours stealing all these and now only Felix and Ruben were left. He was a little perplexed and didn't use his skill on them. The reason was he was afraid they would notice something since they were closest to him. Number 3 sister, now it's yours turn, Ruben speaks for the first time with a tantalizing tone. Since Caden was here he can't tease her too much. Humph. Gracie only grunted vexedly and moved towards the stage. She didn't even glance at him. Ezekiel didn't dare to treat Gracie like all the other juniors and quickly escort her by himself. She has an extremely high status in Grant's family and besides, a very bad reputation of being unruly. Young miss please, Ezekiel gestured respectfully. All the audience went silent, they also know who this young girl was. Caden smiles gently after seeing Gracie appearing on the stage. She was his only child and he was very fond of her. That's why he always spoiled her and didn't punish her for her blunders. Gracie didn't greet Ezekiel like others, she didn't even seem to notice him. She only looked towards her father and smiled sweetly. She suddenly turns around and smiles coldly towards Ruben. Ruben was startled and a very bad feeling arose in his heart after seeing that stiff smile. Gracie slowly placed her hands on the crystal and poured her chi. The cultivation measuring crystal begins to glow and a light, orange gate was formed. Second gate of Chi Gate's realm, low. Congratulations miss on reaching the second gate at such a young age. Ezekiel announced loudly. This young miss of Grant's family really is a genius. The crowd also begins to exclaim in shock. Master Caden, congratulations on having such a talented daughter. Those family heads sitting beside Caden start to congratulate him warm-heartedly. You all are too the kind, that little girl works hard on her own, I didn't do much. Caden smiled ear to ear as he replied. He straightened his chest with a face full of pride. Opening the second gate of muscle was very difficult if you didn't have a solid base. Some people will open the first gate early but will be stuck at this point for years. If someone can open the second gate in 3 to 4 years after the first gate, that person considers a genius in the lands of cities. Ace saw all this commotion and reflected disdainfully, "My little sis has already opened the first gate when she was only 7 years old, and I know for sure, she has already breakthrough after her bloodline was awakened. These people here are all narrow-minded." Ace was thinking about his little sis when his soul sense that was locked on Reuben and Felix tingle. He instantly senses Reuben's emotions became somewhat unsettled and was looking for just this kind of opportunity. He quickly sent a soul thread towards Reuben's waist and used the pick pocket. Reuben didn't notice anything because his mind was messed right now for some reason. Pickpocket succeed, host steal. 7 trash grade pills, half white grade, and 4,904 ruby coins. Rewards. 2 thief points, TP. 54, Ace directly heard the system voice in his head. He didn't show his delight and stand in his position like a status, he was now only a single step away from completing Gracie's mission. Only Felix was effed, but Ace didn't want to do it because Felix was Rylan Grant's son. Furthermore, this Felix was too calm and very alert of his surroundings. He didn't show any opening. Ace was confident in stealing Felix's money pouch, but it would definitely alert Rylan and the Grant family in the future. And this would be quite troublesome for him. Since he has robbed all the participants, those elders would unquestionably investigate this unnatural event. But if he steals from the family head's son, it was possible that Rylan would take action himself. That's why he determined to wait for Gracie to come back and asked her if he could spare Felix. Gracie walks back to her spot with her head high like some arrogant peacock. She sits nonchalantly beside Reuben and said meaningfully, "Former number 2 brother, it's your turn." Ha. When Reuben hears, former, his face muscle twitch uncontrollably and a tremor runs through his body. Chapter 29. Storage Space Treasure. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Reuben didn't dare to tease Gracie, or he was not in the mood anymore, because he knows what was going to happen after seeing her result just now. He takes a deep breath and with a gloomy expression begins to walk on the stage. Ezekiel saw Reuben coming and was about to greet him like Gracie but stop in his tracks because he noticed Reuben's stiff mug and only said politely, "Young master, please." Reuben forcefully calmed his wavering emotions and placed his trembling hands on the crystal and poured the chi. The cultivation measuring crystal begins to change and a brightest yellow color door is formed. Sigh. When Ezekiel saw this, he sucks a breath of cold air. Now, he understands why Reuben's face was like charcoal and didn't want to say it. But alas, he has to. First gate of Chi gates, high. The crowd clamored after hears this, especially Grant's family juniors and elders alike. They exclaim because this was the first time that ranking has changed from the start of the meeting. And the change was also happened in second and third position. Didn't they say Reuben was more talented than Gracie, why he was weaker than her? Asked someone in crowed in low voice. He was winning the second rank for last 2 meetings, but it seems he hit a bottleneck in his cultivation this year. Answer someone knowledgeable. All the crowd was bursting with the same kind of discussion. On the stage, an elder was sitting behind the seats of Rylan and Caden. He was currently clenching the chair arms tightly, there were some cracks on them, it seems he was quite angry. He was Reuben's father and third-ranked elder of the Grant family, Milok Grant. Milok's rank was only below Caden and Reuben was his pride and joy. Since Reuben even manages to win Felix's friendship, and that's how Rylan's attention as well. Milok was quite satisfied with all his son's achievements. Milok's relationship with Caden was always sour. That's why he encourages his son to suppress Gracie and make cracks between Felix and Gracie's relationship, and Caden could do nothing to him openly because of Felix and Rylan. However, now Ruben has lost his second position to Gracie. That's why Milok was in an extremely sullen mood because he always eyeing Caden's position and now he has no choice but changes his plans. Milok was mulling, when a sneering voice enters his ears from the front, "Third Elder, my condolence." It was obviously Caden, who was looking back at Milok with a wicked smile on his face. Milok long beard quiver a little and nearly vomit blood in anger. This bastard. He cursed in his heart. Milok was after all an old fox and forcibly controls his anger and said with a forced yet ugly smile, "Master Caden, I'm very happy about little Gracie's performance and she finally defeats that arrogant brat. This will teach him a lesson." Those other guests sitting around them didn't dare to say anything, they didn't want to offend either of them. Caden laughs heartily when he saw Milok's ugly face and didn't press the matter anymore. He knew this sly old fox and his ways very well. If Milok saw the situation is against him, he would even call a donkey his father just to get out of it. Gracie saw Ruben was coming back with an ashen face and felt her mood becoming quite good. How could it not be? This guy always teased her and didn't show her respect at all. Yet, this time she beat him fair and square. She had a lucky breakthrough this year, that's how she managed to open the second gate. Even if Ruben challenged her, she would defeat him with ease, she was a stage higher than him after all. New, number 3, brother, will you challenge me? How could Gracie let this chance slip by to humiliate Ruben this easy? Everyone becomes silent after she asked Ruben and their focus was shifted on Ruben. Even Felix, who didn't show any emotion, was looking at this scene with amusement. Ruben becomes pale as a ghost, with all this attention on him. He really wanted to challenge Gracie, but before exiting the stage, he saw his father's special signal. Milok was clearly telling him to stand down. Milok knows that odds were not in his favor. If Ruben challenged Gracie, he would lose even more miserably. That's why he signals Ruben to not challenge her. Ha. Ruben laughed dryly and said with a forced ugly smile, "How can I challenge little sister Gracie? Since we are family, we shouldn't fight with each other." He was grinding his teeth in anger. If not for his father he would have challenged her already, so could only sit silently like a beaten dog. The crowd was very disappointed. They thought that it would be very amusing to watch the fight between two top juniors of Grant's family. But Ruben chickens out in the end. Gracie was also speechless by Ruben's shamelessness and wanted to beat him up, but it was not the place for it. Now that she was stronger than him, she would not let him live in peace and take her sweet time avenging the grievance of years. "Oh, thank you, number 3, brother. She ignored him again. Ruben becomes more enraged when he hears number 3. But alas, he can do nothing now, just like Gracie all those years ago. He knows his life was going to be miserable from now on. Ace curiously saw all this from behind Gracie. This was his first time seeing this kind of situation. Ace clearly saw how Ruben was behaving arrogantly in front of Gracie just a few moments ago when he thought he was stronger than her. But now, when Ruben discovered he can't beat her, he immediately begins behaving submissively. This is what it means to be strong and powerful. He thought and couldn't help but be awed by this cultivation world and most importantly human nature. Ezekiel only laments after seeing all this and again speaks loudly. Now that we know young Master Ruben didn't want to challenge young Miss Gracie, we can move towards our final contestant of this meeting. He was just about to call Felix regally when he felt a powerful pressure. Ezekiel was alarmed and thought it was an enemy attack, but he simply can't move. However, the pressure vanished the next moment, and drenched with cold sweat Ezekiel turned around when he saw Rylan has finally opened his eyes and looking at him expressionlessly. He quickly escapes the stage because he knew what Rylan was going to do. Everyone becomes puzzled when Ezekiel escaped like a mouse who just saw a cat. But the next moment, no one dares to speak because of Rylan standing up. When everyone saw this, those who were sitting immediately stand as well. No one wants to displease Rylan. Rylan didn't glance at anyone and slowly walked on the grand stage. Rylan's eyes suddenly locked in the participants' area. He was expressionlessly looking at Felix. Felix saw Rylands and smiled for the first time, seeing his father was looking at him. He knew his father would evaluate his children on their last competition by himself. This is how Ryland shows affection. Come. Ryland's thunderous voice resounded in the venue. No one dares to make a sound because they knew Ryland was calling for Felix and didn't want to die by ruining this moment for father and son. Felix smiled broadly as he walked towards the stage. He was truly happy because his father didn't forget this was his last competition. His mother was dead and his big sister was already married. Even his elder brother who he admires the most has gone with his nephew somewhere. Everyone's focus was on Felix and Ryland except for one person, and that was Ace. The stage was only 10 meters away from the participants' area and Gracie was in the very front, and the moment Ryland walked in the center of the grand stage he came into Ace's soul sense range. The moment it happened, the system voice buzzed in Ace's head, and a black panel appears. He was bewildered by it because system detects a storage space treasure. Did you want to mark it by using 2 TP? Ace was baffled by this and transmitted in mind confusingly, system, what is this storage space treasure? Even this name was unique to him. 1 TP required for the answer. Since he has earned quite some TP recently, he said without care, take it. His 54 TP become 53 and the system's voice sounded again, storage space treasures are used for storing non-living things like weapons, currency, pills, and other treasures. Simply put, it is like having a secret space fused within a finger ring, you can store the whole mountain inside that little ring if you have large enough space. Some storage space treasures can also store living things inside them like humans, living beasts, living medicine herbs, and other things alike. It is like a portable treasury. To form a storing space inside a treasure you need to be a rune crafters. The system only detected a ring of the lowest level, it is not even stable. It was clearly made by a novice rune crafter and will be destroyed after 50-100 years. Ace heard system explanations on these storage space treasures and become astounded. He didn't even imagine that there was something this legendary even exist in this world. If I can have this storage space treasure, didn't this means I don't have to carry this bag around and I can also put these stolen goods and my weapons inside the ring. It is really like a portable treasury. But how can this kind of treasure appear here and who has it? System marked that treasure. Ace really wanted this storage space treasure. Because with it he can do missions or thieveries with ease. As he transmitted his voice the TP becomes 51. He saw a black little panel appearing on someone's hands. It was a blue ring on the finger of a man's left hand. But when Ace saw who the owner of this ring was his complex turned ashen because it was none other than Ryland Grant. Chapter 30. Thievery. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Ace's complexion was gloomy after seeing Ryland wearing the blue storage ring. He really wanted that ring but Ace's reasons force him to stay calm. All this communication with the system only takes a few seconds. Now, Ace begins to think with lightning speed when he abruptly remembered something and become pale just by thinking about it. He recalled Eva's words, when Ryland take this mask out of thin air, I was surprised by it. Ace didn't pay much attention to it at that time, he simply thinks it could be a secret skill or something like that. Particularly now, the story was totally different because he knew about the existence of the storage ring. If Eva was right and he took out that mask out of thin air, then didn't it mean, what I'm looking for is also in that ring? Ace reflected and comes to a scary conclusion. He takes a deep breath and calms his pounding heart. If Ace's guess was right, then Ryland would most likely keep the most important things and treasures of the Grant family in that storage ring. And if he could steal that storage ring, that means his mission will be complete and he will be able to get out of here right now. Furthermore, he didn't need to go to the main mansion of the Grant family to search for their treasury either. Furthermore, what if he didn't find that thing in the treasury of the Grant family? At that time, He has to go after Rylan, and to find Rylan in his own house was not difficult, but he has to go through all types of security and traps. However, right now he was just standing right in front of him. Now, Ace was having an internal conflict and can't make his final choice. If I strike now, I can leave the Grant family. But if I can't find that thing in Ryland's space ring, Eva would be in trouble, and if I can't find that thing in the treasury either. I'm 90% sure that Ryland has that thing in that ring because no one wants to put this kind of precious stuff in the treasury that someone else can open. Sighs. Ace sighed helplessly. Although the next moment, Ace's eyes begin to shine brightly and focus the soul sense solely on Rylan. He finally made a choice. If Ace noticed even the slightest bit of change in Ryland's soul wave, he would strike without any hesitation. Underscore 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 underscore. On the stage, Felix has already standing in front of white cultivation measuring crystal beside his father. Ryland said in a commanding tone, "Start." Felix didn't linger and put his hands on the crystal and pour the chi. The crystal begins to shine brightly and a dim green color gate formed. Third gate of Chi Gate Realm. The mob exclaimed in astonishment because it was very difficult to find someone of Felix's age who opened the third gate in the lands of cities. Moreover, everyone knows that only Asher has reached the third stage of the Chi Gates realm at the age of 20 in the entire River Flower City and is recognized as the top genius of the entire city. But now there was another one emerge, and he was even younger than Asher. The most crucial point was both of them were Ryland's son and grandson. Now, if Ryland reached the Chi Foundation building realm in near future, and with talents like Ryland and Ashen at the mix, Grant's family will definitely rise above the Layton family. Nephew, let's see if you can still act arrogant in front of me when you'll see me next time. Felix imagines while smiling after seeing everyone's reaction. His own nephew Asher always looks down on him because he was younger and weaker. Felix always wanted to suppress him and beat Asher into submission. Now he has shown more talent than his nephew and even surpassed him. Now even his father, who always praised his nephew, has to acknowledge him. Ryland was really amazed by this sudden pleasant surprise. He didn't expect that his son has already surpassed his talented grandson who he was very fond of. He felt gratified and blessed by heaven at this moment. A smile creeps out on his expressionless face for the first time as he thought, 2 talents in a single generation, heh. No one can stop the rise of my Grant family now. The way Ryland looked at Felix also changed and his gaze becomes gentler. He gave Felix the same position as Asher in his heart. Good. You didn't disappoint me, your father. And proved that my Grant family is a den of geniuses. Everyone, I announced that this year's meeting is ended with my son Felix as the winner. Nevertheless, please stay because there's going to be a banquet tonight in celebration of my son's great achievement. Ryland announced with a rare smile on his face, and everyone starts to cheer. All the elders of the family smiled gleefully. They didn't delay either and quickly begin the preparation for the banquet. Caden saw his big brother in good mood and come to him with a thick smile on his face. Congratulations big bro, you have 2 dragons now. Ha, you're too polite, Caden. Ryland laughs heartily hearing Caden's words. Ryland patted his shoulder happily with his left hand when his smile suddenly stopped because he saw his hand was lacking something. Yes. It was empty. His storage ring was gone. Caden saw his big brother's expression and a very bad feeling arouse within, but why? Before he could think any further, an intense pain stirs from his shoulder. All the cheering stopped with Caden's sudden painful wailing. But before anyone could figure out what transpired, they heard Ryland's thunderous roar filled with killing intent. Juasist huhu. Unknowingly Ryland has crushed Caden's shoulder bone in panicked. Even if he knows he didn't care at all because his eyes were solidified on his index finger. There was supposed to be a blue ring with beautiful pattern there, but now it was gone and only a slight white mark of it left. His mind was in utter turmoil, and because of it he loses control of his endowment and released the full aura of Quasi-Chi Foundation building cultivation. Based. The pressure was so huge, one could felt even 100 meters away. Caden was in the eyes of the storm and almost lost his life. He couldn't take the pressure and used his cultivation of Peak Chi Gates realm and shrill in pain, "Brother you." Rylan snapped out of it by Caden's piercing shriek and see his hand was drenched in Caden blood. He quickly loses his grip and Caden fell on stage with a painful groan. He was lucky that Rylan didn't use his chi or his shoulder might have been torn apart from his body. What happened? Caden quickly eats a healing pill and after his pain decreases a bit he asked with a worried expression on his pale face. He has never seen his brother lose his calm like this before, especially in public places. But now he was almost looking like a madman. He was a completely different person. It's gone. Rylan thinks with a hint of horror and panic in his bloodshot eyes. Yet he forces himself to calm down and controls his emotions, but he didn't lower the pressure of his cultivation base. Everyone on stage was shivering in fear. The whole venue was deathly silent. The atmosphere becomes chilly with Rylan killing intent at its peak. No one knows what happened, but no one wants to find out because they were afraid that Rylan would kill them in anger even if they breathe loudly. Lock down the entire area. Rylan roared loudly. Those guarding elders felt the pressure on them was gone and quickly follow Rylan's order. Now no one can go out without Rylan's permission. I just want everyone to show me their hands and their belongings and they can go after that. He blatantly stated. Everyone becomes angry but they didn't dare to disobey. They could tell by his frantic expression that he would kill anyone who didn't cooperate. Everyone on stage shows me your hands and anything that can hold things inside. Rylan starts with those on the stage first because they were closest to him. Everyone's expression turns ugly but they could do nothing. One by one everyone showed him their hands and their money pouches. After checking every person Rylan would always place his hand on their forehead and closed his eyes. He was actually sensing the storage ring since that ring was bound to him, he could sense the storage space ring if it was near him. Rylan was checking everyone when he heard Felix's unexpected voice, "Father, my money pouch is gone." Felix's voice could be heard by everyone in this silence. Everyone becomes startled, they start to check their money bags. Mine is gone too. Mine as well. Damn it. What is happening? Who dares to steal here? Everyone was shocked by this strange turn of events because only participants' pouches were stolen and nobody else. Gracie has almost forgotten about Ace after seeing her father injured and didn't pay any attention to him. She didn't know why her uncle was doing this, but after she heard everyone's alarming cries, she immediately thought of someone. Gracie even forgets about her father and quickly looked behind, but Ace was nowhere. Her face becomes deathly pale and she started to tremble uncontrollably because there was a large bag laying behind her chair. She didn't dare to check that bag because if what she was thinking is true then she's dead. Ruben was agitated because his money bag was also gone missing. Suddenly he noticed Gracie's pale face because he was sitting right next to her. He thought her money bag has also been stolen and feel a little better after thinking he wasn't alone. But when he saw Gracie was looking behind herself, he also looked there confusingly. He only saw a long bag there and after seeing that bag he remembered there was a boy who was carrying it this evening and was not here anymore. Sister Gracie, where is that boy? Ruben's voice echoed in the silent area like a morning bell. Everyone's attention, included Rylan, turns towards Gracie and Ruben instantly. Gracie's jolt awakened from Ruben's sudden voice. Gracie wanted to kill Ruben now. Did this rascal have to be so loud? She cursed him, but alas, now she could do nothing about it. Everyone was looking at her and she was also suspecting that her uncle's rage has something to do with Ace's disappearance. If her uncle finds out about her schemes, she shivers after just thinking about the consequences of it. Rylan was a sly fox no matter how much he was freaking out right now. Gracie paled expression was not right in his view. Even Caden, who was still healing his wound, knows his daughter was hiding something, and it was not a good thing in this kind of situation. Reuben. Who is that boy? Ryland calls loudly,